Reed, I recently went down to Auburn to check out those new wires and talk to Enloe. He's the tree guy down there.
I thought he was the town crier.
In 2010, after the Toomer's oaks were poisoned, Enloe gave a pretty emotional press conference right here at Toomer's Corner. We want to talk to him today and figure out what the plans are, what they're going to put in this area.
Plans are over there.
On the board over there?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I don't care. We still want to talk to him and figure out what the plans are.
The weekend after the Iron Bowl, I went to Auburn, Alabama, because I live 30 miles away,
Sure.
and I poisoned the 2 Toomer's trees. I put Spike 80 DF in them.
Did they die?
Do what?
Did they die?
They're not dead yet, but
They will be?
they definitely will die.
Enloe was out of the state when news of the poisoning broke. He quickly returned to Auburn to find a tradition in jeopardy. So finding it as quickly as you guys did, there was just no way to at that point get all the soil out and start fresh and try to save these trees?
Well, we tried. The problem was we didn't know exactly how much had been put out there, where it had been put exactly, and then how much water had been applied to those trees. There had been several celebrations, potentially after the poisoning. And so that could have been up to about 18 inches of water that could have caused the herbicide to move downwards.
Now, how far did the poison go down? Because I know there were talks of domestic terrorism and that kind of stuff because of the spike the poison could have gotten down into the water system.
Well, the internet's a great thing.
It is, it's fantastic, yeah.
And there was a lot of rumors on the internet concerning what had happened. The reality was most of the herbicide stayed very shallow. It did not move to groundwater. We did testing later to subsequently show that.
Are you now aware of how he put the poison around the trees? Do we know how that happened or what the story was?
No, that's never been disclosed.
If you had to guess how someone would do that, I don't even know where to start. Is it a powder that you would sprinkle out, or?
I suspect that he took and mixed some with water and dissolved it in the water and dumped it onto the ground at the base of the trees.
Gotcha.
We
he
don't
looked
know.
like a good Samaritan at that point, watering the trees.
Could have just knocked over, had a drink cup and just pretended to knock it over at the base of the trees.
At what point did you realize these trees are not going to make it?
With this herbicide, the way it worked, the trees would re-leaf out and green up again after the symptoms would manifest. And we went through several cycles of that, and so every time, the trees green back up and you kind of get a little bit excited thinking maybe they're going to survive this time. We did an inspection June of 2012, and that was really, I'll never forget it, that was when I realized, I knew for sure that they were essentially dead.
Now, you kind of made a name for yourself, or at least people remember your face. I mean, you grew up a lifetime Auburn fan, I guess, because you had a lot invested into these trees.
I grew up in North Carolina. I went to NC State, so big Tobacco Road basketball fan. Always had a passion for SEC football, though. The opportunity to come to Auburn back in 2007 presented itself, and I jumped on it. That day was the press conference day. It was a tough day. It was a shocker. Got up there for the press conference and started going through everything. Then I got hit with the question, are these trees going to live?
From my understanding, I think there's about a 1% to 2% chance that the trees could survive. Are you now ruling that out? Are we sure that they are in fact going to die? I know that's a loaded question.
It's an emotional question. I always want to hold out hope. Based upon the technical experts I've consulted with around the country, the concentration of spike basically found within the soil would suggest there is a very low probability. And it was at that moment, it was like time froze, and I realized that I was about to have to tell the Auburn family that the Toomer's oaks were going to die. And it hit me like a sledgehammer. And they talk about preparing and training for interviews like that. And I wasn't ready for that. And it caused me to step back and get a little choked up. So
we've been trying for 3 years to win an Emmy on this show, and I think maybe more crying may help with that. So I need to maybe take a lesson or two from you how to conjure some tears up. So.
I don't know if I can give lessons on that at all. It was genuine, it was real, and it was unexpected.
So what's next for Toomer's Corner? Obviously the wires aren't going to be a permanent thing. Are more trees, just 2 more oaks, going to go in there?
A lot of questions, a lot of questions. So over the last year, Auburn University has really taken it upon itself to reach out to alumni, to fans, to the Auburn family, to get a lot of feedback on what to do with the Toomer's Corner itself. To plant new trees, to plant or not to plant, to put up some sort of artificial structure, to redesign the whole thing. And Auburn's worked very hard at coming up with a new plan, hiring some consultants and some firms to come up with a master plan for the corner. And that master plan is now on display on the website and up at Toomer's Corner on a really nice billboard up there.
What do you say to people that look at this situation and just think, what is the big deal? These are just trees. Like, let's all, why are we all freaking out about this? What do you say to those kind of people? Because obviously you didn't feel that way.
Yeah, I say it's okay, you don't have to understand. I think this is an Auburn family thing. And those trees mean a lot to the Auburn family. And so folks who are not part of that, they don't have to get it. But we know Auburn people get it.
Damn that guy that did that.
Yeah, who was that did that? Do we remember what the...
I can't think of his
There's
name.
some guy.
Just some guy.
I can't remember.
Up next, we're going to the top of Vulcan with another some guy, Philip Lutzenkirchen.
Some guy.